Ignition and liftoff. Go SpaceX, go IM-1 and the Odysseus lunar lander.
The launch from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida last week was perfect. But will a private company be the first ever to stick the landing? This SpaceX rocket carried a lunar vehicle, the Odysseus, from a private company in Texas called Intuitive Machines. Odysseus, which is about the size of a golf cart with 6 legs, separated from the rocket and is sending back these images of Earth in its rearview mirror. It's scheduled to land on the moon on Thursday, near the moon's south pole. The goal? Finding a way to put humans back on the moon for a long time.
There are these permanently shadowed craters in the south polar region of the moon, and that's where NASA believes they will find frozen water. And that frozen water can be used both to support humans on the moon and then also to produce fuel that could be used for the humans to either come back to Earth from the moon or to go on to another location like Mars.
The only time humans ever landed on the moon was this famous landing by the American Apollo mission in 1969. 4 other nations have made unmanned trips to the moon, but the last private company to try failed a few weeks ago. And landing there is still very difficult, especially for a remote-controlled lander.
As you know, the moon has a lot less gravity than the Earth does, but it also has no atmosphere, so there's very little to break your descent as you're falling to the surface. So that spacecraft has to know exactly when to turn on its engines and how much thrust to deploy and when to stop so that it can land softly on the moon without bouncing off the moon or crashing into the moon.
For years, NASA has been partnering with private space companies like the company Axiom Space, which sent up Türkiye's very first astronaut last month. The partnerships are making space travel ultimately cheaper and more frequent. As for the solar-powered Odysseus, its mission ends in about a week when the sun won't be on the moon anymore. But if all goes as planned, it'll pave the way for humans to arrive there again in 2 or 3 years. Andy Roesgen, TRT World.